thoughts
Yeah.
and like allow people to kind of get, you know, whatever they're thinking of, like off their like mind
For
into,
sure.
you know, the podcast. And then I feel like we got sidetracked so bad.
So true.
So like we went from who knows what to just
Like spirituality.
Yeah, so fast. And
Granted, we didn't have a train of thought.
We didn't. We were just introducing ourselves.
Yeah.
That's really us in our truest form.
So fair.
But for the sake of our listeners, we have to be just a little bit more put together.
Yeah, for the sake of like clarity. Because I feel like if a lot of the people hadn't seen like what we were doing and like paying attention from the beginning, they would have been so confused, by what was going on, you know?
Very confused.
But I mean, you know, it's a learning experience. It's our safe space. We're going to learn within this space, just like we hope you guys do. So.
Exactly. Okay, so let's get into our topic for today. A lot of the feedback I received, and I think you received a little bit too, and I'm not sure what Lauryn received, but a lot of people were kind of like intrigued by our conversation about like high school.
Yes.
So we kind of wanted to just maybe unpack our high school experiences a little bit deeper.
Yep.
And just sort of like talk about, I guess, the impact high school has on us now. So like, all right, I'm gonna take you way back. Okay, 2015. Aisha, you're 14 years old and you like walk into Sequoia. What is your thought process on like how your high school experience is gonna go, and like how did it deviate from that thought process?
I'm gonna be so honest with you. I cried that day. Oh, I told my mom I did not want to go to high school, and she brought me to like my orientation like a few weeks back, and I was like, "There is no way I'm gonna navigate this school. I don't know where I'm going. I'm very directionally challenged, as everybody already knows." So like I was like, there's no way. And I came in and I was like, you know what? No, this is gonna be a good day. Right off the bat, I got lost. I had
it's confusing.
The assistant principal escort me to class.
Oh no.
On the first day of school because I got lost. So, you know, my fears were very warranted. They were very warranted. I said I was going to get lost, and I did get lost. And I got lost for, I think, years after that.
I'm screaming.
There were times where I still didn't know where I was.
Not you senior year asking teachers, where's my
stat
class?
No, because I did. I would come to those orientations, bro, to look for my classes. But no, in all actuality, I was genuinely very scared to go into high school. Looking back, I feel like it was very irrational to be that scared, like as scared as I was. And like, I do think there really couldn't have been a better way for me to start high school, because I started off at my most scared, and then everything else just came like about so much easier and like washed all those fears away type energy. Okay. How about you?
I feel like going into high school, there was a lot happening. I was coming from like a completely different state. And so there was a lot of like culture shock going on. And that's like fair. When I moved in like July-ish. So like I only had like a month to get myself together, and that wasn't really enough time. But the high school experience I imagined for myself and the high school experience I actually had were like two completely different. Two completely different things. I thought I was going to graduate from Mount Perrin. Like I thought the people that I was meeting on that first day were the people I was going to leave with. Yep. And that just like was not the case. Yeah. But I feel like everywhere I've gone where I've been new, like I've been met with so much kindness, and I've really been blessed for that, because people don't have to be kind.
So true.
What I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
especially at that age, sometimes it's very hard to come across kids who are like genuinely just going to be nice to you for no reason.
Exactly. I mean, it might not be genuine. Yeah. But like at the same time, like I don't care for it to be genuine. I just need help.
I just perceived it as niceness. Yeah.
Finding places to go, and they were willing to do that. So like I appreciated that.
No, that's so fair. Plus, I mean, you moved around in high school. I didn't move around, and the people who I started high school with are not the people I ended high school with. So like For you, like, I can't even, like, imagine, like, coming in, like, you came in and met new people right off the bat type energy. And it's like, I grew up with these kids and I was meeting new people day after day, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like the people who I thought were, like, my day ones, like, when I started high school, the people who I thought were going to be, like, on top of it really were not. No, you're good. They really were not the people who I ended high school with. And I could have sworn on my everything when I was 14 that these were my people. These are the people who these are the people I'm taking through life with me. I had this conversation with my cousin the other day, actually, about that. Because he made me...
Younger cousin?
Older cousin.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to visit him, and we were talking. It was like 3 a.m. And I was like, you told me once when I was little to write down in my notes the people who I swore on everything. I was like, these are my best friends. These are the people I'm taking through life with me. There's nothing. These are my people. He was like, okay, write their names down on the notes list. Next time you think about it, let's talk and see if those are the same people you have in your life today.
Oh, wow.
I think I am still friends with 2 of the people on that list. There were like 8. And I was so convinced. So.
Yeah. I feel like when you move around, you kind of learn that really quickly. The people that you're friends with, most of them you're friends with because of like proximity.
Yep.
Not because you actually are choosing those people. So it's like, I remember when I left middle school, everyone was like, oh, I'm going to visit you. Like, you know, you're gonna fly across the country to see me. Okay. Oh, we're going to talk every day. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And it's like, sure, maybe at the beginning, like, you know, we keep in touch and like happy birthday or like stuff like that. But eventually it just fades away. And then they become like basically a distant memory. And so I think it's interesting because people who have been kind of like in the same space or the same place for their like the entirety of their lives really think like, oh, these are my people. Like, these are my people.
For real.
Wait till you move to a different city.
For real.
And not even like far away. Like we're talking like a 15-minute drive.
Not even that.
Like a 20-minute drive.
Not even that. Literally just graduating. The fact that some of these people, I didn't have to be around them every day, showed me the difference between like an actual friend and a school friend. You know what I mean? Like,
because you can be really close with a school friend.
I was so close with like a lot of people to the point where like I was like, yeah, no, like we're friends. Some of those people I have not heard from in 2.5 years. Since the last day we graduated, we took those pictures and we were out. And that's it. And I got closer to people who I didn't think I would even be friends with after high school, just because we were put in a college setting. So it really does like open your eyes to the people who you're around. Like, not that it's like a negative experience. It's something that you have to go through in life. But it was very interesting for me personally, as somebody who has I've lived in the same house my entire life. I've never once moved. I went to school. All my schools were on the same street up until college. I went to school, preschool through high school, were all on the same street. So everybody I knew since I was like 3. So it really is eye-opening to like go out and meet new people. I don't know.
So, okay, besides that, what are some other things that high school has like taught you? Like things that you apply now?
Things that high school taught me. High school really taught me the like power of, I talked about this in our last video, an inner circle, and like knowing like your self-worth and your self-confidence, because in high school I was not a very confident person, and I'm not going to claim to be the most confident person now, but like out of all the friend groups I had in high school, I genuinely left high school with maybe 3 or 4 people that I talk to on a daily basis now, who are like my inner circle.
Yeah.
Who are those people who I can like talk to about anything. And going through all those different friend groups and seeing how people interact with each other and the things that they'll say behind your back to other people, all that stuff is very like eye-opening. Because I would have people who I would, again, swear are like my best friends. The minute I told them, don't tell anybody this, would turn around and I'd hear that they told somebody something very personal about myself. Not even that it was in regards to anybody else, but like about me. Yeah. I'm telling you, don't tell anybody, and you're doing it regardless, you know? I would never let something like that slide now. Never. I would never let somebody treat me the way that I let people treat me and talk to me in high school. At all. It really helped me grow as a person, because if I was the same person I am now in high school, my interactions with people would be 10 times different. 10 times different.
Do you think you'd have more friends or less friends than you did?
I don't even think it'd be more of like a more friends or less friends. I think like I genuinely, like, I can vibe with anybody who's like around me. As long as you're not like blatantly like rude, we can vibe about anything. You know what I mean? I'll sit down and I'll talk to you. It's a matter of, would I have more respect from the people who are interacting with me than I did? Because I let people walk all over me like it was nothing. And on everything, if somebody treated me the way that some people treated me in high school today, that interaction would last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And that would be that. I would never let it slide.
Yeah.
So it really did teach me to be like a bigger person and to like see my self-worth. I don't need all the people who are around me saying that they're friends. Unless you're showing me that you're a friend, I don't need that in my life.
Period.
Like, the negativity is not worth it. It's really not.
Agreed.
I mean, for you, like, what do you...
I feel like what I learned is that people do want to take advantage of you.
For sure.
And, like, if you give someone an inch, they're going to take a mile.
For sure.
And I think you were there for some of the moments where people tried me.
Yep.
And I just feel like I learned a lot of lessons about that in middle school. So like when I got to high school, like I really was not that person. I recall there was a time in homeroom, you were there, where a kid was like, oh, like I know everything about you.
Yes.
Mind you, I've been there for 6 weeks. And I really don't play that because I'm not like an open book at all. So what could you possibly know about me? And it's like I had to let him know that you don't.
No, for sure. I remember that.
Yes,
you shocked everybody. Nobody knew who you were, and you were just like screaming in an empty classroom.
I was not screaming. I don't scream at people. No. I don't scream at people. I just speak when I'm upset. Like I speak in a very stern.
Yeah. It was giving African mom energy.
Oh yeah, it's like you do not know anything about me.
Oh my god! And the classroom was silent because we were around a bunch of kids who like wouldn't like talk in homeroom. Like we were silent, and like you weren't like screaming at him, but the volume at which was happening, nobody in the classroom knew what was going on. They just turned around and looked at you, and I was sitting next to you, and I was like,
no,
period, because you don't.
there were like other moments similar to that where it's just like, I feel like when you cross that line, right? Like I have to reprimand you. Like usually I don't want to be that person that's like going off on people all the time. But it's like people will really try to take it there, you know? And it's like, if you take it there, like my thing is I won't start it.
But you'll end it.
Of course. You know what I'm saying?
And
so
as you
like,
should.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't do that. I think the other thing I learned in high school, about myself was that I have to do a better job at welcoming people into my presence, because I really didn't do that in high school. Like I don't walk around with like a smile on my face. Like I look very menacing at times, and I can see why. Then I'm also black, so that doesn't help. Yeah. So it's like I can see why people who might want to like speak to me are like,
no, I get what you mean.
I don't know if I want to go over there and like, you know, try that. So I feel like in college I've done a better job of like, you know, being like, hey, how are you? Like, you know, like just being a little bit more open. So I think and then procrastination. Oh my God.
Procrastination. They would tell us. They told us, don't procrastinate. Learn to do things ahead of time, all that stuff. And you know, I don't think I took that seriously at all. I still don't think I've learned my lessons from that.
This is the issue though. This is the issue. at least in high school, everyone's telling you not to procrastinate because everyone's giving you a ton of work. So it's like, and you have 6 classes.
Exactly.
So, and then you don't have a lot of time before your deadline. And it's not like the difference. Okay, there's a difference between college procrastination, because that's real procrastination. Because you have periods, I feel like, in college where you don't really have, at least for
like
me,
strenuous workloads.
Where you don't have that much work, so you have time to prepare.
They don't give you busy work in college.
In high school, you have, it's like every single day, and it's things that like, do we really need to do this?
No.
So it's like when they say don't procrastinate this assignment. Well, okay, you gave me homework for every single day of this week.
Exactly. And if that assignment's due at the end of the week, I'm going to do everything else that you gave me that's due the next day beforehand. You're telling me not to procrastinate on this assignment that's due like a week from today.
Exactly.
But how am I to not do that?
Do you know which class did that the most to me that really angered me? Science classes. The amount of busy work. So bad about busy work, and then like telling you, okay, and you have this big project or like a lab, like a big lab or something, but then you're also giving me this other stuff. It's like, okay, I can't help. I feel like in high school, procrastination, especially if you have any type of extracurriculars, like if you have a job, if you play a sport,
or like, extracurriculars that require you to do some sort of work as well with it. Exactly. Like, and we both did extracurriculars. Like, not only did we take like harder classes throughout high school, like AP classes, which had strenuous workloads, but on top of that, there were times where I had 3 jobs in high school. Like after I turned 16, I had 3 jobs, was managing 2 different like athletic teams, and was doing like speech and debate at the same time.
You had a lot on your plate.
Exactly. And I was feeling like that workload. So it's like, there was never a time period during the day. It's like you come home and they're like, okay, go to sleep. Because my parents would be like, okay, go to sleep. Like, you've just been like running. It's like, I don't have time to go to sleep. Because every minute of the day like counts for something. I have an assignment due tomorrow morning. It's either I wake up early and I do it, or I can stay up right now and do it and like lack that sleep and be tired in the morning. But at least it's done.
Yeah. No, it was high school, junior year and senior year for me.
They were rough.
It was literally a mess. Like, my sleep schedule, I'm just now, like, recovering.
I don't know how I did that, though.
No, genuinely, I think about it. I would get home at around, like, let's say 9:30 to 11.
Yeah.
Because that just depends on, like, where practice is. During, like, the AAU season, like, I would have practice at, like Gwinnett or Atlanta or whatever.
Yeah.
It takes forever to get back home. Or like if you have a game or something. So I'm getting home between like 9:30 and 11 p.m. I have to take a shower. After you take a shower, after you've done physical work, and
you're tired. Tiring.
So then I sit down at my desk. I honestly, at this point, I cannot stand sitting down at my desk anymore.
Really?
Because it's like so like traumatizing. So I sit down at my desk and I'm like looking at everything I have to do. And it's like I've barely gotten anything done. And I'm just like, oh my
You ever just sit there and think,
like I have to like
I can't do this?
So then by the time I finish, I could finish at 2. Or it could be like 4 or something. Then I get up at 5 a.m. And then I go and I like shoot or whatever. Mind you, when I go shoot, I haven't had any breakfast yet. So then I do that. When I get to class and I'm like by the time I get to class, I'm exhausted. I'm like ready to pass out. And people used to always make comments on like me wearing sweats to school or like me walking slow or like me sleeping. And it's like, the thing is, I didn't have enough energy to reprimand them because I was so tired, like just exhausted. But on game days, I didn't do any work.
I don't blame you. I really don't.
I'll just do it either before class or I'll turn it in later because it's game day. I gotta get my 8 hours.
No, I don't blame you. I mean, for me, it was like, I like think about it to this day because anybody who knows me now knows I'm not an early riser. I don't like to be up early in the mornings. Like it's one of my biggest pet peeves. It's something that I'm going to have to like work around, but it's always been like a thing for me. Like I never liked mornings like as a kid either, but like thinking about the fact that we had to be up at school. The bell rang at 8:15. You had to be in class. Not only that, but I didn't sleep the night before because I had 2 unit reviews, a test in another class, a bunch of homework in the class before. Not to mention, I didn't get a nap during that day because I had to go from one job to the next. And I had after school curricular, like, was helping with like the volleyball team or something. And my body is tired because I did weight training. That was the worst decision I could have ever done in my entire life. And then they broke me.
Oh yeah,
literally broke me.
That was so bad.
Like,
that was terrible.
I just think, like, I think back to it and I'm like, if it was me now, putting myself through all that stuff, I could not do it. I don't think I could.
Never again.
I don't think I could.
Never
like,
again.
Genuinely, the things that, like, I guess that's, like, another thing I learned. Like, value your youth. Value your youth, because I'm 20 and I feel like I am 35.
But that's also because of the pandemic.
Oh, that is so true. The pandemic aged me like 10 years.
That's a whole another conversation. But imagine going to high school during the pandemic.
Well, I wouldn't have learned anything.
Did we really learn that much anyways?
No, but like, the very little that I did like retain from high school, because I feel like I was like spouting out facts. Like, they would just like to the point of this like muscle memory, because I feel like we were in class and they were just saying the exact same thing over and over and over again.
That's the programming.
Like literally,
they programmed you, Aisha.
I actually identify as Cyborg 218.
I'm screaming.
No, like,
you have to identify as your number. Your school ID number. That's what you have to identify as. Mine 161202. I remember when
I'm screaming.
When I went to the front desk and they like gave me like my official number or whatever, and my dad was like, "This is what they do at public schools. You're not expressing your number.
Your number? No, but like how they do it in colleges too. They're just like, can I get your student ID number? Like, no, in high school, it was like you used it for everything.
The college one is entirely too long. You have like your banner number. Your banner
exactly.
ID, and then you have like your actual ID, and I'm like, okay.
I didn't know that
high school one was 6 digits. I can remember that one. The college one,
mine was only 5.
Oh, it was by for me it was, I think it's by number of like when you enrolled or something.
Oh,
because I'm 161202. Spencer was 161101. Yeah, or he is.
That is
not me giving out his ID.
Spencer's gonna get he's gonna find his books.
People are like getting lunch
on his number. Spencer's gonna fight you
4 lunches yesterday.
No, mine was 91739. Oh my god.
You're not Aisha, you're
91739.
Exactly. It's like damn.
I mean, dang.
Remember Les Mis? The number? What was his number?
22564.
I'm done.
Oh my god, this is exactly what we mean though. Like, this is how we conversate. Like, on a reel, we'll start somewhere and end up talking about a musical. We just like started on like high school and now we're talking about Les Miserables. So many times.
We did. Okay, but I got another question.
Okay.
We're getting ourselves back on track, okay? How did you feel about like the social hierarchy of Sequoia specifically, and where do you think you fit in it?
Social hierarchy, so like popular is like all the way down type deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or how did you even feel like there was a hierarchy in general?
Here's the thing. I feel like there's always gonna be like a group of kids at like whatever school that you just kind of like categorize as like populars. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because I remember talking to a girl who like, again, I'd known for a while. She's very sweet. I still like know her. Like, we wish each other happy birthday. But I was talking about it. I was like, oh, the populars, because she would have fit into that category. Like, she would have, like, if you talk about the populars, she would have been associated with that. And she was like, I hate that terminology. Like, I genuinely hate it because, like, I know people like call us the populars, but it's like we just like hang out with each other. Like, we're just like casually there, and we don't consider ourselves like that. And some of them did.
Do you know what it sounds like to me when
What?
someone says that? It's like, you know, like when filthy rich people, like, I don't like to be called rich. Like, I just happen to have boatloads of wealth and resources, but I'm not rich.
I'm not rich. My parents are. No, I just, like, at the time, I was, like, listening to it because I just thought, like, all those kids knew that they were called that, and they were, like, fine with it. And I'll give it to you, like, it does sound like that, but the girl seemed genuinely bothered by, like, the terminology at the time, and was like, I genuinely don't consider myself that, because, like, these are people who I hang out with, like, sometimes, but in the same sense that we're, like, we have a friend group that we text, but, like, that's not our main friends, you know what I mean? Like, there's, like, a couple of people out of those people that I'll call my day ones, but that kind of energy. And it's like, I do believe that there are some people who genuinely, like, they clung to that popularity for their lives.
Yeah, you can tell.
And I never considered myself popular in high school. I think I was well known. Like, I think I was a person that, like, also, it doesn't help that I have, like, this African name that, like, everybody was like, I know these kids, like, I know all of them. I feel like it's not hard to be well known in high school when it's, like, a confined space.
Yeah.
But I didn't consider myself popular or anything like that by any means. I didn't hang out with the kids who were considered popular. I just think at the most I was well known. I think I was just, like, generally a nice person. So, like, I could talk to anybody, so it wasn't an issue. I don't know. I mean, you came from, like, outside of Sequoia and, like, in. So I guess you would be able to see, like, those rankings better than people who, like, go to school there their entire lives.
They definitely exist. And like you said, it's clear that some people's value, like, or how they see themselves, I think has maybe a lot to do with where they are ranked.
Yeah.
And I think in some of my interactions with people who I was kind of close to, especially, like, on the basketball team and stuff, you could tell that their image and how they were perceived by the entire student body was important to them.
Important to them, for sure.
And for me, as far as where I fit, I really am not sure where I fit in that ranking or social hierarchy. I know that I was known because I was an athlete.
Especially since you were an athlete, like, that came out of, like, nowhere.
Yeah, and then was, you know, pretty decent.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm pretty sure, like, if, like, at least in our years, if you said, like, oh, I know Sydney, be like, oh, the basketball player.
Yes.
Like, I was recognizable in that sense, but I don't really think I really fit anywhere because I wasn't really engaged with anybody. Like, I wouldn't say that I had, like, oh, this was my friend group in high school. Like, I mean, I will sit you, if I sat with you at lunch, like, I sat with you at lunch, but that was
about it. Like, you were lunch friends.
Yeah, like, I was really just vibing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't know how to describe it. I do think that, like, the whole social hierarchy thing, especially going to a school that is very, like, white, you know, can be difficult if you're Black. Especially if you're
I think it's a black female, yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Guys, I think it's easier.
It's a lot easier for them. I've, like, noticed that because, I mean, I'm not just speaking off the people who I've seen. My little brother went to the school that we went to. My little brother was popular with kids in our grade and kids who were older than me. They were like, oh, I know your brother. I was like, how do you know him?
I'm screaming.
I'm 15 and he's
our little famous
one. Our little famous one. Y'all go follow him on TikTok.
You probably already do.
You probably already do. But it's like, he was popular with kids who were older than me, like kids who I would, like, talk to, and they'd be like, oh yeah, I played basketball with your brother the other day. And I was like, he's 12. You're 17?
Oh.
Why is he hanging out with you? Like, there's no reason for a 12-year-old to be hanging out with a 17-year-old, period. But, like, it's easier for them to get into that point of, like, being well-known or popular, stuff like that, than it is for, like, a Black female in general.
Yeah, it is. And I just feel, I felt like, at least at Sequoia, there was just a lot of disrespect thrown at the Black women or the Black girls there. And it was a little bit frustrating to, like, kind of see it from, like the outside looking in, because this notion, I don't know where it really came from, of the fact that the black girls are like super ghetto, super ratchet, all eat hot Cheetos, and are really loud. I really don't know where that started, because there weren't that many of us, and we were not the ghetto ones at that school.
No, and it's like a lot of people would say that like they act hood and stuff like that.
At that school either.
Nope. No,
because I remember early mornings, who was screaming? I'm not gonna say who, because I don't want to get in trouble. But it wasn't us.
I just, especially that notion, I feel like this was like very prevalent amongst like Cherokee County and like a lot of the people there, that like we were hood. It's like, baby, I grew up down the street from you.
That's what I'm saying.
Again, I've lived in the same house that I've lived in the entire time.
Is that assertion was really, really like, I think, validated by the black guys.
Yes.
And they did a lot to like...
It didn't help.
Yeah, to continue saying, oh, I don't date black girls because, you know, they're ghetto, all of this stuff. Meanwhile, you're pretending that you're ghetto.
Or like, I grew up in the hood. You know what I'm saying? I've heard a number of them say I grew up in the hood, and it's like,
what hood?
Baby, this is my mom used to do your mom's hair.
Exactly.
Y'all have been here the same amount of time as I have.
This is very much
you live in a gated community. Ooh. Like, I'm not saying we live in a top tier area, but it's definitely not the hood.
Not the hood.
Maybe it's the redneck hood, but it's not the hood.
Middle to upper middle class.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's not the hood.
So it's like, no, stop putting this negative stigma on yourselves, because people are using it to judge you.
No, but the thing is that stigma works for them, because it creates like a level of intrigue, right? And it's like, oh my God, like I want to be like so and so, like he's so cool. You know, he's so...
I used to tell my brother not to talk to them.
He's like he's a really good, you know, football or basketball player or whomever.
But it's like the things that they were saying, I know, to like not name names, but like they would say things and I'd be like, the last thing I want is for my brother to grow up idolizing these kids the way that some other kids did.
Oh, you already know. I
was like, you are not, don't talk to them, please.
I was on Spencer.
I feel like my brother didn't like anybody who I didn't like, because I feel like he knew that they were saying things about me.
I'm screaming.
He was like, I don't like you. I've heard something. Like, I feel like he had. So he just didn't talk to him, because he definitely could have been brought into that crowd.
Yeah, no.
Unapologetically. And it's like, I think I would have cried.
Had to protect our little Abdul.
Yeah, y'all need to leave him alone.
Spencer's a mini-me.
He's so funny.
So
y'all will encounter Spencer one day.
I did have to work on him 7th and 8th grade, because we were losing our poor little Spencer.
I'm serious.
It was about, they had him in his grasp, and I
literally
yanked him out.
Because you did.
No, because
you're like that TikTok that's like the audio. It's a woman's world, so to speak.
I'm screaming.
Venom.
Oh no, but I remember I had this conversation with Spencer, because he would tell me like who his crushes were, right? So when I look at all his crushes, the one thing I noticed is that all of his crushes do not look like him at all. And so I would always be like, Spencer, really? And you see how I'm like saying things without saying them? I'm so slick.
There goes the slickness.
Whatever. Anyways.
And you saying that you're slick. That's exactly what I mean.
Whatever.
I need to take you away.
I feel like people are gonna like, the people who are like watching and not engaging at all. Now, I'm not saying that they're my ops, but I feel like they're expecting this from me.
They're like watching and they're like see, I knew she'd say it. I knew she'd say it. Anyways, she didn't say it, but she said it.
I'm just going to say it outright. So basically,
no, you're not.
So basically, I noticed that there were no black girls in his crushes, right? Mm-hmm. And so I would always comment on it, because I was like, there's no black girls at Freedom.
Yeah.
0. And he was like, well, like the ones at the school are weird, or da 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 da. And this is what I've learned. this is what I've learned. There's always another black person like you somewhere.
Yeah.
You go. It literally does not matter. Like, there's always at least one. You have to look for
They're
them.
one face swap away.
But you have to look for them though. If you don't look for them, you won't find them.
It's so true.
Because we're in an overwhelming minority. You know what I'm saying? So I would always tell him, like, just look for them. Like, don't believe the things that your friends are saying about black girls is not true. You know it's not true because of your mom. You know it's not true because of me.
I would tell Abdul that anytime I heard that he like, it's not like I would just hear that, oh, he did something to a girl or whatever. I remember one time vividly, somebody told me he did something or said something to somebody. And it's like, I'm not just going to take somebody's word for it. I'm going to ask him about it. Because at the end of the day, family above everything.
Period.
And if I like found that like it is true that he said that, like he had a reason, but he did say it, I'd be like, well, how would you feel if somebody said something like that to me? Or how would you feel if somebody came up and said something like that to your mom? Because you wouldn't be happy. You would have literally started a riot.
Exactly.
So don't say anything to somebody else that you would be upset if somebody said to your sibling or your mother. You know what I mean?
No, because I lost my train of thought. But it's kind of like a similar thing, like a similar conversation that I've had with Spencer. But also, this is I got it back. So it's the standards that we're held to, right? Because it's like when Spencer is describing, or any of these black guys are describing black women as like weird or crazy or all of these things. What standard are you holding your preference to?
Yeah.
You're not holding them to
what's
that standard.
Not weird.
Exactly, because they can do the same things that those black girls are doing and you will forgive them. You know what I'm saying? They'll be like, oh, whatever, right? But why are you holding your own people to
a different standard,
an extreme standard, when you know that we're struggling, when you know how difficult it is? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like a lot of the black guys at Cherokee genuinely embarrass me. I'm sorry, like that's the only word I can use. And it's like, it's embarrassing to see how they function. It's embarrassing to see how they kind of like go through the world, because they act like clowns, like the jesters for their kings and queens. That's what they act like. Like they're the class entertainment. You know what I'm saying?
I don't like him.
No, it's always embarrassed me. And it's also like, there's no excellence. Like there's very, very few black guys I had an AP class with or an honors class with. I think I had one AP or maybe two. There might be a couple others, but it's like you're holding me to an intense standard that you can't meet.
Yeah.
You're saying that black girls are this, black girls are that. But
it's not for lack of trying.
Where are you in the representation in those good classes? Where are you? You are nowhere to be found. So like, it's like one of those things where if we're holding it down, then you just need to keep your mouth shut, in my opinion.
I just think it's ridiculous to associate like one race with like, oh, they're weird. Like,
exactly.
I can find somebody of every race that exhibits some sort of quality that I do. You know what I mean? Like, there's at least one person that I can vibe with who I feel like is like me, of every color. So it's like, stop basing that narrative off of what other people are telling you. Judge for yourself. Like, that's the one thing that I'll tell anybody. Like, at the end of the day, when people tell me something about somebody that I don't know, I take note of what they're telling me. But I do not judge you unless it's something very, very like bad. I'm not going to judge you based upon what somebody else tells me of you. I would like to base my judgments solely off of what I have interpreted of you. So I feel like a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people will take what you're saying and they'll like hold on to it. They'll latch onto it and they'll be like, oh, so she's weird. Okay, I won't talk to her. Where it's like, if you just took the time in the day to talk to that one weird kid, like, who knows? Like, you might find something completely different from what other people are telling you. So it's very important to know to judge for yourself. And my mom always used to tell me, you pick your friends, don't let them pick you.
Ooh.
Like, and I live by that now. I live by that now because I realized I used to let my friends pick me. These people were like, oh, I want to hang out with you. And I'm like, okay. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like, just because somebody considers you a friend or like their best friend doesn't mean that you have to consider them that same way if they haven't given you a reason to.
This is very true.
You know what I mean? Like, if I'm going to treat you like a day one, you are going to you're going to match my energy because I'll do anything for my friends and probably not to the same extent as I do for my family, but almost to that same level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'll do anything for my friends. I'll drop anything for y'all. So if you're not going to match my energy and you're not going to, be that friend that you're seeing in me, why would I elevate you to that status?
Exactly. No, it's one of those things. I had a friend tell me about this, about how she has like a system for compartmentalizing, like, or kind of putting people at a certain level, right? And so it's like you have certain friends that you're just cordial with, you interact with them, on occasion, but you're not relying on them for anything, and they're not relying on you for anything. You know what I'm saying? And then like each tier gets more like intense. And I do think in high school there's a lot of like forced emotional intimacy between people that have no business being friends. And even like in like the relationships that you see in high school, it's almost like, okay, what's going on here? Like, why are y'all together?
Or like the forced attachment within like those relationships. I'm just like, okay, so you love him. Didn't y'all start dating 2 weeks ago?
Exactly. Like,
you're in love with this man, like, genuinely. Like, we're 15. How do you know how?
I wonder if watching, like, television.
I was going to ask if, like, that's what it is.
Sort of, like, the media's interpretation of what high school is. I wonder if there's some people who are, like, I need to make my high school experience like what I've watched.
Yes, there are. And I blame High School Musical for that. And I don't want to blame the Cheetah Girls, but I will. I will blame the Cheetah Girls.
I feel like it's every television show.
No, every television show that's revolving around high school interactions. Because let's be honest,
high school is turning into now.
Yeah.
Euphoria. That's what high school.
I've never watched Euphoria.
I watched one episode a couple of days ago. I told you.
Not the one episode.
No, because I watched a little bit of the first episode a while ago because I was like, what is this show about? I thought it was a little cutesy teen show. It is not. For everyone out there who hasn't seen it, it is not a cutesy little teen show where they wear glitter makeup. It's very intense. And they do a lot of drugs.
I feel like they're highlighting a lot of things that are going on. Like,
yes and
do you think they're glorifying it?
Okay, so I have a thing about media in general and their obsession with teenagers.
They need to leave teenagers alone.
Disgusting.
Well, they're developing minds, and it's like, I get that they're the most susceptible.
No, it's disgusting because it's a teenage. Why are you making a teenage show that teenagers actually are not supposed to watch?
Yeah.
That's my issue. But teenagers will still watch it anyways because, like, it doesn't take much to sign up for HBO Max. And
it really doesn't.
Put your parents' card in or whatever and just lie about your age.
Or most of them have jobs. They don't even need to do that anymore.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I just feel like some people are... It's like... When they get with someone, are you getting with that person because you actually like them, or are you just mimicking what you think a relationship looks like?
Yeah.
Because I genuinely don't think that high schoolers should date.
It's one of those things where it's like dating at a young age, like that can definitely be very impactful. I remember any encounter that I had at a young age, like those things stay with you. You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm not saying, oh, you're a child, don't talk to anybody, yada, yada, yada. But be careful about the people who you do talk to, and be careful about the people who you do let yourself be vulnerable around. Because at the end of the day, those are the people you're giving the power to hurt you.
Exactly. I just feel like it's a matter of discernment, right? And I just feel like at 14 to 18, you really don't have any. And like, I think the issue is from 14 to 18, everybody thinks they're so grown and thinks that, oh yeah, I'm 16, I'm mature enough to make this decision, or I'm 18, I'm mature enough to make that decision, whatever. You probably are not.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like it's best, like, even if you have a crush on somebody, that's fine, but you don't have to date them.
If you are, just be responsible with the way that you are interacting, because we can't tell kids not to date each other. That's not something that's gonna happen. You know,
I'm saying, if you want to save yourself pain and suffering, because most of these people don't know how to treat another person, they're developing communicate with each other. Why put yourself through that?
But high school is supposed to be the time where they develop skills like that, and they're not developing skills like that. And in turn, it's like, most of y'all got TikTok.
Just wait until your brain develops a little bit.
I've just seen too many people crying on my TikTok For You page to think that this is just like it's becoming normalized, and it's like, yes, normalized. High school? Not that, but like the pain people are coming about.
Oh yes.
From like relationships like that, and like the things that are happening to them, and it's like, yes, normalize it to the point where it's like, no, you're not weird for feeling this way. You're not some sort of like, it's not your fault that you're feeling some type of way about something. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it's important that you do, how do I say this like the right way? It's important that you do realize that nobody's entitled to treat you the way that they're treating you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The way that these people, like guys and girls, are getting away with treating each other.
Terrible.
I'll watch like genuinely TikToks of people who are like, yeah, so my boyfriend cheated on me like 12 times. I have proof of every single time he's cheated on me. Told me it was my fault because I wouldn't like give in to what he wanted, and this and this and that, and somehow end up blaming themselves for something that somebody else did.
But this like circles back to what we first talked about, right? About how people are constantly trying to see how much they can get away with doing without having to take responsibility. Mm-hmm. And that's the issue with relationships, right? Because if you're manipulative enough, you can convince someone that it's their fault. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. In high school, because people don't have that. You like high schoolers don't have the capability of really understanding like what's happening and mm-hmm. how badly they're being manipulated. And it's like, at least for my children, mm-hmm. the answer is no. Sorry, like, yeah, you can go to no, you can't go to the movies.
So no, you actually cannot leave the house. And homeschooling is the only option.
I'm sorry, like, I don't want to be like a helicopter parent, but it's also like you hear just like what these kids are going through in like relationships.
It's scary.
And it is the amount of times I've not heard once, but maybe 4 or 5 times someone has threatened to harm themselves
because you like want to break up with them or something,
commit suicide because they want to keep you in a relationship. I'm so sorry.
I know what you're about to say. So don't say it.
Incredibly inappropriate to me.
Oh, so
that
true.
Is so incredibly manipulative.
Oh, for sure.
It genuinely, like, what is somebody supposed to do? Now, I know what I would do, and I know a lot of people would disagree with me.
Yes.
But you're getting your number blocked. Because you're not going to put your issues on me. Like, please go call better.
Well, no, that is so unfair. And on a young mental psyche, I don't know how I would handle something like that now. Like, all jokes aside, if somebody said that to me, no, but it's like mentally. I'm not even saying like how you would physically handle the situation. Mentally, how you would process something like that. Like, that takes a toll on another person's mental psyche. And I'm 20. Now you're telling a 15-year-old girl that you are a 15-year-old girl or guy.
This is not something that's happened like that I've heard of happening once. Like this is multiple people.
Oh, for sure.
Using like that type of like threat. Like I will harm myself.
It happened to one of our close friends.
She told us
you know what I mean?
I was like, oh my gosh.
How many times do you have to? And it's like
then the guy didn't even really mess with her like that.
And it's like at that point you're belittling like people's mental health. You're belittling actual like mental health issues at that point, because there are people who genuinely cannot control how they're feeling and are genuinely depressed and are going through like thoughts like that every day.
But that's why I'm telling you, my future kids, I'm telling them no.
Like, that's just, like, that's all. Just no.
And maybe it might be up for discussion if I know the child's parents.
Well, my parents
date really well.
My mom, every time I hung out with a kid, and I used to be like a little embarrassed about it, but like I get it now. You know what I mean? Like as a little kid, I was embarrassed, but she was like, "No, you're not going to their house. I need to meet their parents." And she would have them bring the kid would come over and the parent would come over. My mom would be like, "Sorry, but you know, I had to meet you. You know, this is my kid." Like,
no, there's too much that happens for parents to not do that, because there's a lot of parents who don't, and it's like I thought my parents were a little bit weird for that.
Yeah,
but they're actually
wholeheartedly so justified.
You send your kids to another person's house. Like, the amount of crazy stuff that happens, the amount of people that get kidnapped, like, you know.
Or they're having their own personal family issues within that house. Like, things that are happening that should not be happening within their household. That's, like, normalized.
If I go over to someone's house, I'm not just meeting the parents. I'm taking pictures of your license plate. Like, if you don't catch me, I'm like looking through the mail, like, what's going on here? Like,
I'm screaming.
If you have medicine out, I'm like taking pictures of the medicine. Like, I'm not playing around. Like, what do you have going on?
I'm screaming. No, my mom used to do that, and it's like my brother had a friend who would come over, and I did not know who this dude's mom was for months. She dropped the kid off and left.
Wow.
And she would pick him up, and she's a very nice lady. But it's like, it shows how like some people are very trusting and some people are very overprotective, and you have to meet like a normal median of the two. And I don't think there is one right now.
I feel like for me, I'm gonna try to be the slick overprotective mother.
How do you pull slick overprotective?
No, so listen. I'm trying to be like the helicopter mom. But like the helicopter is a little far away, like, you know what I'm saying? Like the helicopter is there, but you can't hear it. Like some people like hover their kids. Like,
yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be like up here, still got the vantage, still got the binoculars and everything, but like you can't see me, you know. So I don't know. I just feel like,
how do you do that?
No, because I'm not driving I'm not flying the helicopter.
You're just the passenger in the helicopter.
Yes, my husband is flying helicopter.
I was about to ask, who is flying the helicopter?
I have binoculars on and I'm seeing what's going on.
I'm screaming.
I'm not, like, the amount of things that happen to kids.
No, so fair though.
Take them to another person's house and like let them spend the night.
My mom didn't let me spend the night at cousins' houses sometimes. I'm like not even gonna cap.
Because that's the same thing.
So exactly. You never know what's going on in somebody else's house. And you know what? I used to be like really upset. I used to be like so upset. I'd just sit in the car with my mom. She'd be like, "So why aren't you hanging out with your friends?" And I was like, "Because they stopped inviting me places because you never let me go." But like, I get it.
What's annoying is that they were right.
They were right about the friends.
And that this entire time, they would always tell us, you'll understand
when you have kids.
Yeah, or when you get older, when you have kids. And we're like, no, I won't.
I'm like, no, I won't.
And now we're older. We don't have kids, but we're older. And it's like...
I feel like I have people who I look at as like kids. Because like, I feel like I'm a mom of friend groups. And I have like, especially at work, I had friends who are younger. Who are younger in high school.
They need some sort of guidance.
And they'd come to me. The things that I would hear just sitting at work, I was like, why is this happening to you? I watched this in a movie once.
Oh yeah, some people's lives are really like movies.
Like genuinely. And I was like, are you okay? Like, do you need to talk about it?
Yeah, no.
Because some of this stuff, like, genuinely, like, you're talking about it like it's very, very normal, but baby, that's trauma. Like,
you do have to watch out for those people, though.
Oh, you keep them at an arm's length, but you help how you can.
I remember in high school. See, now I really have to try not to use names before I get in trouble. Before I get a text message.
I'm screaming.
But it was like, you remember senior year.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not, I feel like I don't have like the nurturing,
we're like very different in that sense.
Yes, I don't have like a natural nurturing vibe about me because I'm very self-focused. Like I'm focused on what I have going on and what I need to accomplish. So I don't really have time to like nurture somebody else. But in senior year, I don't know why, but there were certain people who I guess looked up to me in that sense and would constantly tell me about like their problems and like these were not like little problems, like those were legitimate issues, you know,
like genuinely, like
yes,
they were problems,
like, and then they also caused me problems at the same time, right? And it was like I also think because I think why they did certain things is because they weren't sure that I cared, I guess, or something, as opposed to you, like you have that sort of like you have that vibe. So it's like, oh yeah, Isha does care. But at least with me, it's like, oh, like I'm gonna try to
like they were
you.
testing you.
Yes, they did a lot of testing, like testing me, and people do that a lot to me, like a lot, like where instead of just asking me if I care because the answer is yes, they'll do drastic things to try to gauge if I care. And it's just like, you didn't have to cause me trauma because I did care.
That's very funny.
Now I don't like you.
No, I mean, that's fair. And like, I feel like that's really funny to me because for me, I'll hear something that like hurts somebody else and like, I'll leave that, like, the pain that I leave there, it's not because they caused me something, it's because I'm, like, in pain over what they're going through, and I'm just, like, I'm, like, internalizing it.
If somebody's crying around you, like, you're crying too.
Yes, I have definitely done that before multiple times.
I'm not like that.
No, and it's, like, I think that's why, like, people used to tell me I just have, like, that face, or, like, when I, like, start talking to people, because if somebody comes up to me and they're, like, oh, I have an issue, okay, let's talk. Like, you're coming up to me, you're telling me you have an issue. Obviously, there's something that you were trying to process or something you need to talk about. I'm right here. Let's talk. Like, there's no need to, like, beat around the bush. It'd get to the point where, like, again, like, if I was at work, especially the girls who I worked with, at the end of the day, I love those girls. Like, they, like, found a place in my heart. And a lot of them, some of them I've known since I was like 16. Some of them I met up until like this year. And they'd come to me and be like, I need to talk to you. So like if something was like wrong, I'd be like, okay, let's go talk. And like they'd be going through something and it's like, I try to help in whatever way I can and give as much advice as I can. But it's like, what would hurt me is like, this is this person that I care about. And they're going through this and they feel like they're going through that alone. You know? So it's like, then I'm internalizing what they're feeling and I'm just like, oh, wow. Like, now what if it was me going through something like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's always like my train of thought. Cause I'm like, if it was me going through something like that, or for example, if it was my kid.
Oh, Lord.
Or like somebody I genuinely care about, I'd want somebody to be able to be there to talk to them. In the way that they feel like nobody will.
Yeah, I think I have a bit of like a problem solving kind of mentality. So it's like when someone tells me something happened to them and they're like crying about it, I'm not focused on the tears. I'm focused on like, all right, let's fix this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, let's solve this.
So like minus the nurturing, let's get down to the problem.
It's not even like the nurturing. Like I might give you a little hug or something. But like, what is the next step to get out of the situation, as opposed to like, I don't think people are expecting that from me. I think they'd rather me kind of just like be there with them and just like cry with them and just like hold them. But I feel like that's not who I am, you know? It's like I'm going to like we're gonna figure out a way out of this.
We'll solve this situation. And sometimes there are people you have to like go that route with, because there are people sometimes who can't process their emotions, who don't know how to handle it, and that's the best way to help them. You know what I mean? It's really all about knowing your audience, like knowing the people you're talking about, because it's like, if I came to you and you were telling me you were going through something, I was like, okay, Sydney, come on, let's hug, let's talk it out. Like,
has that ever happened?
No. I think you've called me crying like once, and I was like,
I was crying, I think it was Bridgerton.
You've called me crying twice then. Okay. Bridgerton really messed you up. Like, no, on some real. I was like, you were like, song, Aisha, the song.
No, because that song hit so.
You have to like insert a clip of the song here.
I will, because I feel like I'm not the only person.
I cried when I listened to the song.
When you heard me crying, saw me crying, I think you thought it was crazy.
I did, because I had no idea what was going on. I didn't even know you were watching Bridgerton.
But you watched it, and then
then I cried. I was like, "Oh my god, I just want to be happy."
You were like, "I'm watching it." No, because genuinely, we're getting off topic, but I just have to address that.
You were so hurt. Oh my god, I don't think I've ever heard you like sound like you had hurt in your voice before like that. You were like, have I ever had unequivocal love?
No, it's different because they really love each other. I was like, I don't think I've experienced.
You were like sobbing, and I was like, "Oh, so this is what we're doing today?"
No, it was, and then you watched it, and then what did you have to say?
No, because they really do love each other.
That's what I'm saying. They
really
deep,
do love each other.
It was raining, and they were like dancing, and everybody left and let them dance by themselves. Wasn't it Lady Danbury was like, everybody is okay to leave now.
Everybody
the couple needs
leave.
some time by themselves.
And up until that moment, I was like, oh, they're getting a divorce. They're not getting a divorce, but divorce.
No, that was such a beautiful show.
Bridgerton was good.
I feel like when I like am crying or anything, because I do cry. It's just that I don't like to cry
seen it twice.
around people.
We've been friends for what, 4 years?
Well, if you come to like the last game of like the season, like I cried then. Oh, I was so mad. I was so upset.
No, so fair. But it's like if you had came to me with like a problem, that's not the way that I wouldn't handle it the same way that like I handle problems with everybody else. Like, yeah, we're gonna talk through it and figure out, but it's gonna be like okay, let's fix it. So like, this is how you're feeling. How did you get here? Type D. Whereas like some other people, it's like they need a little more. Some other people, you just have to sit there and let them cry and hug them. Like, and that's what they need in that moment. You know what I mean? Because they feel like somebody else isn't going to give that to them.
Yeah.
So it's like picking and choosing.
Yeah. I feel like I've had problems with friends before because of that. Where it's like, where sometimes they're like going through it, and I'm just like, I feel like sometimes, you know, when you see a solution to a problem
and it's like right there for you,
it's like this is it,
like,
and
this is the solution.
Like, just not, they're like actively
they're
not
like, but
choosing,
no, it's not
actively not choosing that solution. And then I feel like for me, I'm a little impatient with people too.
Yeah,
and that's the problem. I'm very impatient because it's like, I think the issue, I feel like I am people think I'm like a narcissist, but I'm really not. I just have other things to do.
You have other things to worry about.
Exactly. So it's like when people have
Is it narcissism or is it self-preservation?
That's the real question. Because
there's narcissism.
I did that narcissism test. We joked about how I was close.
You were close, but like you weren't a narcissist. No. And it's like at the end of the day, I'll be like, yeah, so these are narcissists, but she's not.
What did I say? Strong narcissistic tendencies.
But it's like, I did, what's it called? I said this before, but like I did speech and debate. This is tied to high school. Like, since I know we're supposed to be talking about high school.
Okay, it is
tied to high school. But I did, one of the topics we did was about the difference between self-preservation and what's the word I'm looking for? OMG. It was like self-preservation versus I can't figure out the word that I'm trying to say, but it's something that it's used very like synonymously, but they are very different things. It's like, in one sense, it's like, I'm doing things only to help myself. I'm doing things because it benefits me, and that is it. Like, I really don't care how it like affects somebody else, because at the end of the day, it's helping me. Whereas self-preservation, it's like, I'm doing this because it's something I need to do for the sake of myself, not because I'm trying to do something to somebody else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like is it self-sabotage? No, that's not self-sabotage.
It's not self-sabotage. If I had my phone, I'd be able to pull it up.
There is a key difference, again, between a narcissist and between what I am. Because I feel like a narcissist also imposes themselves
upon other people.
And I don't really do that. So that's like how I know I'm not a narcissist.
I think it's self-preservation. I just don't think... It's like people will misinterpret, like, oh, I'm doing this for the sake of myself, I'm doing this because I want to. That's know what I mean? Like, those are two different things. I'm doing this because it is better for my mental health. Yeah. I'm doing this because I don't care what it has to do with you and your mental health.
I also don't explain myself to people.
Well, you don't need to.
I know. But I don't.
A lot of people do think you have to explain what you're doing and like why you're doing things to them. Oh yeah, no. Like, and I'm just like, no.
But I feel like this goes back to high school.
Yeah.
With the idea of the whole like, I don't have to be around you anymore. Like, I don't have to be in the same building as you every single day from 8 to 3:15. So it's like, if I don't want to be around you, I don't have to explain why I don't want to be around you.
You just don't.
Exactly. I just do my thing, and like, you can be upset about it, but like, there's so many different ways to ghost people now that it's like, don't mess around and actually get upset, because then you will get ghosted.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the difference between like, oh, you want to get upset, or oh, take the time to ask why I'm doing something.
Exactly.
Like, asking questions, not beating around the bush, will get you so far. Like, in all actuality,
there are a lot of people.
And it's easy to beat around the bush.
This lesson.
Very true. It's easy to beat around the bush. I mean, I feel like some of us do take the easy way out. Like, there are times where it's like, yeah.
But the thing is, when you beat around the bush, right?
You're making it harder for yourself,
You make it harder for yourself. You never actually get a clear answer because you're not asking a clear question.
And you may ruin a relationship in the process.
Exactly. But then you're also making a lot of, like, assumptions based on an answer that isn't actually the answer to your question.
Very true.
And then there's a lot of room for like
discrepancies.
Exactly. And errors in your thought process and their thought process. And it's like the amount of times where I was like, if you just asked me that question directly, like,
you would have had a straight answer. Like, you could have avoided all of this.
Exactly. And it's just like, see, now we're in a situation.
Yep.
And it's like, dang.
Yep. I feel like that, like, especially in high school, that happened a lot. And it's one of those things where it's like, I wouldn't have noticed it in high school, though. Like, I'll sit back and I'll look at things that happen and I'm like, whoa, that's exactly what that was. And I wouldn't have noticed just because of, like, lack of checking.
Yeah, no, that does happen a lot in high school.
But it happens more slickly when you leave high school.
What, beating around the bush?
Yes. Because think about it. Now you have the beating around the bush toppled with not having to be around people 24/7.
True.
So it's like, not only are you beating around the bush, but you never have to actually address an issue in the manner that it needs to be addressed unless you want to. That's the only thing that will push you to do it. Because what else is going to? If you don't want to see somebody, all I have to do is sit at home and close my bedroom door.
Exactly.
That is it. All I have to do is put my phone on Do Not Disturb. So it's like, it makes it, if you don't learn that lesson early, it will make your life 10 times harder in the future.
I have a question for you. Have you ever had to like rekindle a friendship, like in high school, maybe even outside of high school, right? Where it's been a little bit of damage has been done. How have you worked? How have you been able to? And like, what are the steps that you had to take to do that?
Yes, I have done that. I feel like I've done that more out of high school than I have, because I would hold on to a lot of like anger at things that people would do. Like after high school, and then like there was a point in time, I remember like right before 2020 started, and I was like, I'm holding on to anger about some of these situations that like don't matter anymore. Like, you're not in my life the way you were before, and I'm holding on to something that doesn't matter anymore. Like, I don't know if it matters to you because I don't talk to you. So I like messaged a few people before like that new year period had ended. Actually, I think I sent it on New Year's Day.
I remember, like, it was late 2019. I was going through this. I feel like being away from home, being in, like, a completely different situation and kind of going through it. I also was trying to, like, change myself and be a nicer version of myself. And, yeah, that didn't last very long, I can't lie, because I wasn't really being myself, you know what I'm saying? But I do remember, like, being like, I'm gonna, like apologize. People have to apologize too and stuff.
Yeah, no, exactly. Funny. I apologized to a few people, and I was like, listen, like, what happened between us was really childish. Like, at the end of the day, that's the only way it can be categorized. Things that happen in high school, genuinely, like, when you sit back and you look at them, they're childish, because I would never get in the same arguments now.
Oh, heck no.
I wouldn't. Like, I would just, like, if you had a problem, I would just, like, leave it.
But no, think about this, though. If you're getting in the same arguments with people that you had in high school,
there's an issue.
It's time to look in the mirror, because, like, that was so long ago. And it's like, let's be better.
No, exactly. So it's like, I was like, listen, this wasn't mature. I have no reason to have these conversations with you in that manner at all. So I'm going to go ahead and apologize if I've done anything to you that has hurt you in some manner, shape, or form. And hope that, like, even if you don't want to apologize to me, I'm telling you that I've let go of whatever anger I have in that moment. And I'm telling you it doesn't matter anymore. I'm apologizing and I want a fresh start. Whether you say yes to that or no to that, that's on you.
True.
But I want no negativity. So you do with that information what you will, type B. And every person who I sent that message to responded very positively. Yeah. And they were like, no, like, you're good. And I apologize if I've done anything to you. And I hope that we can work through things. And I was able to fix a friendship with a friend that at the time when the friendship broke, I could have sworn that I would never speak to them again.
I remember.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And I talk to that person to this day. Like, we're chill, we're good. And had I not been able to let go of that anger that I was holding in, it wouldn't have been able to happen. You know what I mean?
I feel you. Yeah. I think rekindling friendships for me, it's a matter of, like, my boundaries and how far I feel like they've been crossed. And it's like, I don't know if have you seen Fix My Life? With Ayana.
Yeah.
I love her.
She's so funny to me.
Auntie Ayana. Wonderful lady. But every episode, right? Or not every episode, but there are some episodes where people would be, like, very verbally aggressive towards her, or, you know, because she's calling you out on, like, your flaws, essentially. And so that can be a lot.
Defense mechanism is to, like.
But once you've done that, once you've crossed her line, right? She would say, okay, so I'm no longer communicating with you. I will not be talking to you anymore. I will talk with somebody, like, through somebody to you, but I'm not a part of your journey anymore because you've crossed my boundaries. And I feel like after seeing that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So after seeing that, I was like, she has a point, though.
Yeah.
Because once you've come at me with, like, disrespect or, like, really crossed the line, like, it's time to take a step back. And so I feel like when rekindling a friendship, I always have to, like, think, what lines did you cross? You know what I'm saying? And the thing I've noticed is that a lot of people, especially after high school, people who I was even really close to who try to come back, right? They'll be like, oh, I was a bad friend. Yeah, you know, I've never been a good friend. Like, but, you know, like, we should talk some more, this, that, and the third. It's like, you haven't really addressed whatever went
what
down.
The issue was.
Right? And it seems like, what it sounds like is that you're trying to just jump back into a friendship without saying, like, you know, I did cross this boundary.
Yep.
And this is what I need to work on.
A lot of people will do that.
Once I see you try to come back all happy-go-lucky, like, on that weird stuff, like, I can't get down. So I'm not going to, like, be rude, but you're definitely going to get a lot of dry responses. It'll just be something cordial, like, yeah, okay. Yeah. But nothing's going to happen.
But, I mean, we talked about this. It's that self-awareness problem. The fact that people are not very, like, people will not take responsibility for some of the things that they've done. So it's like, genuinely, if you said something to me that was rude, and you said something. It's like, or you like called me out in class or something like that, and you said something that was like out of pocket, and then you come to me like, oh, I had a friend do this to me in middle school, and they like called me out over something I didn't do in like our group setting, and made like everybody in the group like upset with me. And then the next day we got on the bus and they were like, they came over and started talking to me, and I was like, I thought you said we weren't friends like yesterday. Ooh. And they were like, oh no, well, I changed my mind. Like, is that how that works? How it works. Like, that may have been able to slip when we were 11. Yeah. But I'm 20.
I'm screaming.
Like,
no, exactly.
And even then, it was a very fine line, that slide. I also
feel like behavior, and like when I left for college, a lot of things changed with how I interacted with people who like swore up and down, we're gonna be friends like forever. Like, this isn't gonna change anything. Like I said, like when I moved from California to Atlanta, everyone was like, oh, we're gonna visit you, and like that never happened.
That slides as a kid.
Exactly. And so it's just interesting how it's like, oh, I know I haven't been like that consistent of a friend, but like I really care and this and that. And it's just like, okay, like you don't need to say any of this to me.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't want to be a part of my life, you can leave. The door is right there.
No, exactly. It's like, I'm not going to impose that upon you. There are some people who like genuinely, I'll be sitting and I'll like think about them or like a memory that they had to do with, and I'll just like message them randomly and be like, hey, I just thought about you. I'm just checking to see how you're doing.
Oh, you're better than
and
me.
I've noticed, never do that. I'm screaming. That's so funny. No, but it's like, I've noticed that people respond very well to things like that. Like genuinely, like the only reason I'll be like, I just thought about something, like this funny memory, I just wanted to see how you're doing. That I feel like goes a longer ways than like, I know I haven't been a part of your life, but like, I'm ready to make that change. I'm ready to be back.
Even when people do that, where they're like, oh, I was just thinking about something that had to do with like you and me, and it's like, I hope you're doing well. Like, I always respond like, I'm doing well, how are you? But it's never like, I'm never like, oh, I want to be friends with this person again.
Yeah, no, it's always like, the only people who I'll do that with is people who I like genuinely, like I had a friendship with at some point in time, like people who I used to hang out with. And I'm like, oh, I just wanted to see how you're doing. And like, I'll leave it at that. Like once that conversation's over, it's not like I'm going to start messaging you every day. Yeah. Like I was just thinking about you. I wonder how you're doing. I'm hoping that you're doing well. That doesn't mean we have to talk every day though. Like I'm not going to impose that upon anybody. If you take that as like, hey, we should hang out sometime, or we should try to get back into that friendship, sure, let's, if you haven't done anything to me, sure, like, what's the issue? But sometimes it's not necessary.
True. Okay, so last question. If you could change anything about your high school experience, what would you change?
Change anything about my high school experience? I would change the way I perceive myself. Because I think I spent a lot of time trying to change myself to accommodate to the needs and the wants of other people rather than what I wanted and how I felt. And couple that with being very self-conscious and not being very confident within myself. That's a very toxic mix. Yeah. So it's like now I'm trying to relearn what it means to like know your self-worth and to be on top of things. But had I been able to like understand that in high school, I feel like it would have helped me years along in the future. You know?
Yeah, I feel that.
What about you?
There's not much I would change. I'm really trying to think about what I would change. Probably I wish I had been more strategic about how I was like practicing and training and things like that. And then I think I would have tried to be just a little bit more cognizant of what was going on around me. I was very much in my own world the entirety of high school. And, you know, it doesn't hurt to just, you know, see what's up with people on occasion. I wish I had done a little bit more of that because, like, I mean, when you're like, oh, we went to Sequoia with so-and-so, I'm like, oh, who are you talking about?
No, every time you're just like, I don't know who that person is. And I'm like,
it's like, I probably wasn't going to meet that many more people, but like, still, like people I meet now that I've had classes with.
I was about to say, I'd be like, we definitely had a class with them. And I'm like, senior year of high school.
probably should have at least remembered their name.
No, fair.
Yeah,
fair.
So that's about it for me.
Well, once again, I guess we'll end this with, if you guys have anything you want to hear for the next podcast episode, any feedback, or want to be a guest on our next episode or anything like that, let us know.
You know, we're very open to it. We should do an episode where we just have guests.
Only
like,
guests.
Come on, like for like 3 minutes at a time, and like we just like talk about something, and then we get the next guest. Wouldn't that be lit?
That would be so funny. We'd have to compile a lot of people. So I mean, if y'all want to come on and talk about something,
DM us,
Space
Podcast Official,
or any of our actual Instagrams. We'll check either. So, I mean, hope you guys have a nice rest of your day.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. Our outro music.
Okay. Wait. Oh no, I didn't.
No, restart. Now for our outro. I feel like we deserve a studio.
We do deserve a studio.
How upset would y'all be if I told you this camera hasn't been recording? I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh.
You have to add that in the end of the video. I'm so serious because I think the shock on my face.
I would be so mad. Because I checked it.
Yeah, because at one point Zoe came over and knocked the camera over, and it was so funny because Zoe jumped and then looked at us and then ran away. And I was like...
But I also checked it too. Remember?